It's time now for the award-winning #1 local talk show in Northeast Pennsylvania, The Sam Lesante Show. Now here's your host, Sam Lesante.
Thank you for joining us, folks. I'm Sam Lesante, and you're watching The Sam Lesante Show. This is part 2, folks, of an interview I'm doing with Father Joseph Sica. Father Sica has been writing for 19 years. He is senior priest at the Immaculate Conception in Scranton. He's been there for 10 years. And he writes Lenten books, Reflections, and plus 2 of his great books, Embracing Change, Forgiveness One Step at a Time. Common Sense Solutions. Common Sense Solutions. If you missed the first show, I highly recommend, you can get us on the app. Download the app, SSP TV, Sam Lesante Show, Father Sica Show. And this is part 2. Father, once again, it's nice to have you on the Sam Lesante Show.
It's an honor to be here with you, Sam. Thank you so much.
Last time we left, we talked about people who are frustrated, angry, upset, and then you said about talking and trusting someone. Mm-hmm. My question to you was at the time is, all right, so how do you know who you can trust? How do you really know you can just, like in confession, open up and let it all out and feel better? At least, how do you know how to establish a person who you can trust?
I love Saint-Exupéry's book, The Little Prince. When the fox says to the prince, I want to be your friend, but I have to trust you. And the prince says, well, how will you trust me? He said, well, I will sit this close to you today. And if you don't hurt me or say anything bad to me, I'll move closer and closer. I think trust is a relationship we grow into. That I can trust a person with little things. They don't go around and spread them. Then once I test the waters, I bring them deeper into my life. It may be superficial things I share. Then after I share the superficial, maybe I go from my head into my heart. Maybe I tell them something happened in my life I told nobody else because I tested the waters with them and I trust them. They don't get on the phone and tell somebody else because they're really listening. They're trying to see what I'm going through, what I'm feeling, the world through my eyes for a moment. And they're just listening. They're not dismissing it. They're not giving me advice. They're listening. That's why I also like the word listen. Unscramble it, it spells the word silent. You only can listen when you're silent. That's why God gave us 1 mouth and 2 ears. We talk less and listen more. The person that I feel I'm going to trust will listen to me. Then once I feel safe with that person, I confide in that person, the trust continues. And trust, we know, is violated. People break it. And often when it's broken, it's often hard to repair.
Yes.
And because the person now becomes a little hesitant, a little reluctant, not only to trust this person, to trust other person. People in relationships. Women have told me, you can't trust men. Right away they want to violate you. They want to hurt you. You can't trust women. All they want is money. And so we carry that from relationship to relationship. Give people the benefit of the doubt. Test the waters. Give it time. But don't dismiss them that quick.
In developing a person who has a gossip complex, a person who has envy and jealousy, a person who looks at people like you said in the first show, oh, well, look at that, he has everything, she has everything, okay. What kind of medicine do we give these people so they can gradually become better people and understand why important they are in God's life, and maybe prayer? I mean, I don't know. What do you suggest?
Well, I think we're talking about when people have those monsters in their life, the anger, the envy, the jealousy, the resentment. I think what you have to say to them is, your life's a good life. First of all, we're all made in God's image and likeness. Every person who came in this world came in uniquely made. We didn't come off any assembly line. We're all one of a kind. And we remind them in the Bible, you're wonderfully and fearfully made. No one has a face like yours. No one can talk like me. No one can think like you or feel like me. We're a limited edition of one. And sometimes people forget that. Even if they failed, failure isn't final. Pick yourself up, go at it again and again and again. If they in a relationship and have failed, try again. Don't give up, and don't look in other people's backyard. I like the story about the waitress who was waiting on people in the restaurant, and a guy would always come get a cup of coffee, and he was real busy one morning. And he said, "Give me more sugar," and she said to him, "Stir what you got." That's a great lesson for people. Look at your own life. Say, here's my talents. Here's what I have. I don't care if Father Joe Sica has. I don't care what Samuel Lesante has. This is what I have. God gave me these talents, so thank God. God don't make junk. Everybody he made is valuable and precious and wonderfully made. We didn't come off any assembly line. We were created by God with our own talents, our own purposes. So people who are continually envious or jealous or angry are not secure in their own skin. But they want to be you. And you can't be me. It's the monster. It'll devour you. It may be always there, but keep it in the cage for a while and appreciate yourself. Look at your own life and say, who am I? What do I have? What can I do? And then thank God for that stuff. You talk about prayer. The only prayer you ever say to God is thank you. That's enough. God gave you everything. God's not going to say to us when we die, why didn't you become like Father Joe Sica? Why didn't you have the talent of Samuel Lesante? He's going to say, why didn't you become you? Why did you refuse to become you? Why did you compare yourself? Why were you envious of your sister? Why were you jealous of your brother, of your neighbor? Why did you refuse to become you? That's why I love the movie Shawshank Redemption, where Andy Dufresne says to Red in the prison yard, it's all down to one thing, Red, in life. Get busy living or get busy dying. And I discovered, Sammy, in my priesthood, a lot of people sleepwalk through life, and they wake up when it's too late. They wake up when a doctor says that heart muscle is too weak, the cancer spread to multiple organs, and they realize, you know what, I wasted my life worrying about Samuel Lesante. I crossed all these bridges. I held all these grudges. I compared myself to other people, and now my life's coming to an end. Wake up. This is not a dress rehearsal. This is the real thing. You can't do anything about yesterday. It's in the books. Tomorrow's never going to come, but this day you've never seen before. We stand in front of guys going to ask us, what did you do with the life I gave you? Every day we get up, I tell people, you get 1,440 minutes. The same for everybody in the world. You choose if you want to live it being angry, feeling sorry for yourself, having self-pity, being resentful, being jealous, or taking it and living it and making a difference. Because it's your life, nobody else's. Only you can live your life. And that's what's important.
In your readings, Lenten readings, I found this to be very interesting. Sally, who was blind, told her boyfriend, if I could only see the world, I would marry you. Then one day, someone donated their eyes to her. With new eyes, she saw Mark for the first time and was shocked to realize that he too was blind. Now will you marry me? Mark asked. Because of his blindness, Sally refused. Days later, she received this note. Dear Sally, take good care of your eyes. Before they were yours, they were mine.
Powerful story.
My God, it just, boom, hits you like that.
Before they were yours, they were mine.
Sure, he gave his own eyes.
And that's what love is, isn't it?
Yes.
Love is best defined as when the other person's happiness, needs, growth, and security are as important or more important than your own. And that's what we have in a relationship. It's a sacrifice the husband makes when the wife says, I need you to be home tonight. The wife says, I need you to hold me tonight. That's what love is. In Mark and Sally, Mark gave the ultimate sacrifice of love. He loved her so much, he gave her his eyes. And Sally didn't appreciate it. Took the gift for granted.
You say something, the gift for granted, you're gifted, and some people, as we try to put things in perspective in life, and we all have our sacrifices and problems when we get up in the morning. Do we get up and look at life in a positive manner and saying, you know, I'm not going to talk about Father Sica today. I'm not going to spread gossip today. What I'm going to try to do is see how I could help something. You know, in Lent time, and don't get mad at me, sometimes I hear people, I'm giving up candy, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to give this up, and I'm going to give that up, and God bless you. But they'll still talk about people, gossip about people. I think it's best if now you certainly want to, but do a good deed one day. Do a good deed during Lent. Do a good deed every day. And feel good about what you do.
Sammy, let me tell you something. You should be a priest. You're 100% correct. What you say, you know, and I could not agree more with that. And I say that all the time. You're going to give the watermelon up, but you're still going to be mad at your sister. You're going to give the candy up. You're still going to talk about your neighbor. You know, maybe eat the watermelon, eat the candy, and stop talking about your neighbor. And I agree with you. I think Lent can sometimes have that negative spin. And I know what fasting is all about. But maybe fasting is when you stop gossiping about somebody. You know, put the gossip on a fast. When you stop telling lies, put the lies on a fast. When you stop maybe trying to manipulate someone, put that on a fast. It's giving up. And I agree with you. Let's not make it negative. Let's make it positive. That's what we should be preaching. You know, it's okay to stop. Well, I'm not going to drink for 40 days.
Yeah.
But I'm going to still rob the guy I work for.
That's it.
I'm still going to have that affair.
Yeah.
I mean, so why?
Yeah.
Because unless the fasting shows a change in the behavior, don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it. And I agree with 100%. Do something positive. Look at your life, and I say, just take one thing and say, I want to work on this. Maybe I want to be more patient with my children. Maybe I don't want to flaff the handle as often as I do with an employee. Take one thing that you see as hurting relationships, harming people, and say, I'm going to make this change this Lent, and work on that. And then have people to support you, to say to you, you know what, you slipped today. All right, we'll allow you a slip. Now get back on track. Get back on track.
There's an old expression, misery loves company. And sometimes people who like to gossip and talk about people, they always stick together. They're always in the cliques, etc. And because they know, you hear the one about Sammy, hear the one about that, and they eat this up. Okay. People who talk about people have concerns, but people who talk about paintings and creative things, and how do we help Mary, who had a problem with her husband and is having a difficult time? How do we help Jim? Okay, that unfortunately he got into trouble. Instead of pounding him into the ground. Did you know that Sammy Lesante, blah, blah, blah. I mean, and so this is human nature, but sometimes people just can't wait to get up in the morning to talk about what they heard about. And we talked about this in show number 1. Sometimes they say it's human nature, but I don't know if that's human nature.
No, because you know what? Misery loves company. I also heard misery welcomes it, and misery goes and find it if they can't. They do it.
Yeah.
And you're right. Let's say that you know your next door neighbor's having a difficult time.
Yes.
So instead of talking about her, why don't you go over and talk to her? Yeah. Why don't you say, you know, I hear that your husband walked out on you. Yeah. You got the kids. How can we help you? Yeah. How can we do something for you? You know, and not talk about her. Yeah. Because what happened there is none of your business. Yeah. Unless she invites you into it. So don't go trying to mismanage the information. Don't project it. Don't try to presume it or assume it. Simply say, hey, look, what happened? If you want to tell me, that's your business. But I'm here to help you. How can we help you?
Boy, when someone's having a difficult time in their life and they're trying to do whatever they can and they're really down, one thing they don't want to hear is, I told you so.
You're right.
Didn't I tell you that he was a bum?
Oh, yeah.
Didn't I tell you that he was no good?
That's right.
Boom.
Yeah.
They're already down in the
That's
gutter.
right.
Okay.
That's right.
But I told you so.
That's right. You didn't listen to me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's you know it's true, but now I remember giving this same speech to someone who upset me. I said, he was having a difficult time, and he looked at me and he says, Sammy, right now I need your help, not your hell.
That's right. Yeah. And that's what Jesus did. Jesus didn't go around saying, I told you this in this way, if you listen to me. That's why I love The Wizard of Oz. When Glenda never said to Dorothy, I told you always had the power to go home. You didn't listen to me. You didn't listen to me. And sometimes we have to find things out for ourselves. I would never cast someone's failures, their hurts, their mistakes, their shortcomings, their pains, their problems into their face and do that. Point the finger. I told you so. I told you so. Because when I'm pointing the finger at you, I got 3 more pointing back at myself. So I better make sure my house is in order, or I try to put your house in order. I think sometimes people have to find it out for themselves. And sometimes you could say, I tried to tell you it was going to happen this way. You didn't want to listen to me. So I don't think it's so much not what we say to people, but how we say it.
Yeah.
And the way you said it, and that's how people say it.
Yeah.
But there's a nice way to saying that.
Yeah.
Billy, I told you.
Yeah.
If you went this route, it was going to happen. You didn't listen. Now, but then don't leave it there. Let me help you with this. Because the most powerful words we can say to somebody is, I need help. Help me. Please help me.
Father, greed and ego are 2 terrible things.
Exactly correct.
You may have people who live in a beautiful home, have 4 cars, drink whatever they want, eat lobster, eat steak, but yet you have a family that's trying to survive, and that one person may get something that's a little better fit in their lives. And what do? Well, what about, you're jealous of that person, but yet you're sitting in a lap of luxury. And yet it's just that egos, in this business, that's it. I mean, you got to have an ego, okay? If you don't have an ego, you've got a problem, okay? Yeah. And egos have destroyed a lot of businesses and families, etc. When I come back from a break, I'd like for you to comment on these people who, they have this greed in their life, and they have this ego that destroys people. I'm talking to Father Joe Sica, folks. Wrote a number of books. Embracing Change, Forgiveness One Step at a Time. You know what this book is loaded with, folks? It's loaded with common sense. We'll be back right after this. Thanks for staying with us, folks. Remember ssptv.com, ssptv.com. Download our app. You can watch all of the shows we produce, Sam Lesante Show, The Girls, etc. My guest today, Father Joe Sica, who has a master's degree, doctor's degree, you name it, in common sense, wrote 2 books, and writes Lenten Reflections. Book is Embracing Change, 10 Ways to Grow Spiritually and Emotionally, and Forgiveness One Step at a Time, Amazon.com or Barnes & Noble. We were talking about our lives and how do we get the most out of life that we can. People develop egos, and sometimes when somebody else succeeds, even in our business or in the priesthood, you have priests that are jealous of other priests. I hate to say that.
Oh, you're right.
Okay,
Sam.
I mean, and so he became Monsignor. He got this parish. Who got this? I mean, it's natural. However, what extent do you go from that ego?
Ego, E-G-O, ease God out. So when God is out of our life and God is not centered, then all things are possible. Because when we forget God, then we forget who we are, where we come from, and we actually believe all this stuff we achieved on our own. But we haven't. Because if I don't get one more thing in life, God has already given me enough. A great family, priesthood, the ability to write, to go all over and talk and give retreats. So I'm blessed. And I don't have time to look in another person's backyard and say what they have. When I hear that a friend of mine, hey Joe, my book just hit #1. Congratulations. I'm not envious of that. I'm happy. I don't crave to have that. And when people operate from their ego, they ease God out, they ease goodness out, and they welcome the greed, they welcome all the hatred, all the resentment, and they start all the stuff you talked about earlier, the gossiping, the spreading of false rumors about people, anything to bring them down because they want to be them. Once again, I go back to the Wizard of Oz. When Dorothy got the first gift, the ruby slippers, there's a reason for that. Nobody can walk in your shoes but you. It's your life. You have to live it, nobody else. So I tell people, say thank you to God. Hey God, thanks for what I have. Thanks for the much I have or the little I have. I have a friend of mine, he said to his wife one day, what's the matter with you? You seem so uneasy. You have a beautiful home that's paid for. You got closets filled with every kind of clothing you want. We have 2 cars, an SUV. We're on vacation twice a year. What do you want? I want more. You know, happiness is not wanting more. Happiness is saying, hey, I'm happy with what I have right now. Thank you for what you've given me. The little, the much. I know people in my parish who have 3, 4 children. They barely make it with the paychecks, but they're so happy.
Yes.
You know why? There's no ego.
Yes.
There's no greed.
Yes.
Because when the ego gets in the way, Sammy,
Yep.
you know, and your business, my business,
Yes.
because then we start thinking it's all about Joe Sica.
That's it.
It's all about Sam Lesante.
That's
Well, it's
right.
not.
Yeah.
Because in the end, the gospel says, go ahead and build those bigger barns. Your life's going to be taken tonight. Take it one day at a time, one breath at a time. Be happy with what you have.
Words are powerful things. My wife, we're in marriage 6 months, 7 months, or whatever, and I'm busy with my stores, etc. And one day she looked at me. She says, "Honey, do you love me?" I said, "Of course I love you." Then she said something. "Well, why don't you tell me?"
Well, wow, your wife's a philosopher.
Not only that, my wife and my mother have the same philosophy, and they're happy. My mother was always happy. My wife's, we're always happy for people who are successful. Yeah, I mean, and you find that you feel better. Not, believe me, I'm a sinner. I'm not trying to
We
say.
all are.
Okay,
We all are.
But the point is words are powerful things.
They are powerful. What does Cher sing? Words are like weapons. They wound sometimes. I say this. Words can be emotional bombs and destroy people. You're the dumbest kid I ever had in my life. How can you be so stupid? I never should have married you. You're a misfit. You're a mistake. Words can be emotional bombs. They can wound. Or they can be emotional balm, B-A-L-M, and heal and soothe. You did a great job, Sammy. Don't be down on yourself, Joe. Get up. The words we choose are very, very powerful because once they're out there, we can't bring them back. And your wife says it. You know, it's one thing to say, I love you, but show me. Like in the Fiddler on the Roof, when Tevye says to Goldie, do you love me? Well, of course I love you. I cook for you, I clean for you, but do you love me? I clean the barn, I raise the daughters, but do you love me? And what did Jesus ask Peter 3 times? Do you love me? Do you love me? Do you love me? Don't just tell me, show me. Because unexpressed love means it doesn't, it leads to unhappiness. It's like the story of the husband and wife having a different time in their marriage. They went and see a psychiatrist. The doctor listened to the husband and wife go on for about an hour. Then he gave the wife a big hug. And the husband, your wife needs this every day. Okay, doctor, I can bring her in here on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but I go fishing Tuesday and Thursday.
Yeah.
Your wife, your husband, they need that hug. Hold the hand. Tell them I love you. You know, sometimes words aren't always necessary. They experience it in the holding of the hand, the hugging, the opening of the door, the doing things together. Your wife is right on target.
She's. In closing, someday it will all come to an end. Wealth, fame, and power won't matter. Hopes and dreams will be a memory. When your children, grandchildren, relatives, and friends gather to say their last goodbye, what will they remember about you?
So the legacy we leave. And we're writing it every day with our lives. How do you want to be remembered by your friends? They're all coming to that funeral home and they're coming past your casket. What are they going to say about you? He cheated everybody in business. He was always angry. She was always bitter. Looking for the next move. He was so kind to people. He gave his last dollar. She went out of her way for her neighbors. She was so forgiving, so understanding. I want people to remember the good things, the things that maybe gave them a glimpse of God, gave them a glimpse of hope, and a glimpse that, you know what, life can be difficult, life is short, but in the end, it's the best thing we ever known in our life.
Father Joe Sica, it's been an honor and a pleasure to have you on my show. I could go on and on. I think, folks, if you want to really know, really get into this, forgiveness one step at a time, embracing change, 10 ways to grow spiritually, emotionally, by I think a person that I've admired for many, many years, and what he's been able to do. Don't you wish that we have a little pill in the morning that we take and saying, this is going to make you good and wonderful for the day and make you kind and could you develop that pill, you think?
You
John?
and I can do it.
Oh, okay.
And do it on Shark Tank.
Thanks very much for coming
Sammy,
on the show.
I'm honored to be with you.
It's
Thank
our
you so
pleasure.
much.
Folks, remember, you can watch the show 24/7. Download the app, SSP TV. I hope you got something out of these two-part shows we did with Father Sica. I know I have. We'll see you next time.